What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome today, and as usual, make sure to subscribe for more Reddit content and let's get into today's stories. Karen stiffed an 11-year-old out of $40 in 2 hours work. I'm in the Midwest, which has been hit with a ton of snow. My son, 11, wanted to earn extra cash by shoveling snow. He went to this older lady's house on the street behind us. He asked for $40 to shovel the driveway. She said she'd pay him $35. I knew then and there she was trouble. Nickel and diming a kid out there just trying to earn a buck? Come on. My wife convinced me to have a little faith. My boy worked his butt off in sub-freezing cold, shoveling 8 inches of wet, heavy snow. And when he was almost done, suddenly Karen appeared telling him he didn't do a good enough job and she wasn't gonna pay. He came home with tears literally frozen to his cheeks. After work, I went over there and said she can either pay him something for the work he did, or I would put the snow back. She thought I was bluffing. I covered about 30% of what my son took off before she realized I wasn't gonna stop, and she called the cops. So I called her a c**t and walked home. I don't feel better, but I know she feels worse, so that's good enough. Ex-girlfriend wants to cut off our electricity? No problem. I was living with my girlfriend and a roommate and we split the cost of every bill evenly, even though each bill was in one person's name. Well, that was the idea, but I naively helped my girlfriend pay her part of the bills, i.e. paid completely for most of them. The rent was in my name, the electricity in my girlfriend's, etc. Well, I eventually got tired of her crap. Arguments, smelly gerbils, not doing chores, and we broke up. It was messy. She took ages to move out, making sure to mooch every penny she could before leaving. When she left, I immediately started a new electricity account in my name. A week later, I got a letter of confirmation in the mail, but I also received the electricity bill for the last 3 months my ex was living with us. I opened it without thinking. We couldn't even pay it if we wanted to because the bill was in her name. I shot her a text. Yo, you got the electricity bill in the mail. It's $120, so come pick up 40 from each of us. Where's the other 40? We agreed I wouldn't pay the bills after I moved out. As if she did before. And I say, you were still living here for the time period of the bill. This is bullshit, I'm not going to pay a thing. We had an agreement. Well, you can come over to get our part or you can pay it alone. The way I see it, you can either bring the $120 to my place or have fun in the dark, lol. You got me there, I said. At this point, I realized that she doesn't know I started my own account with the electricity provider. She thought that by refusing to pay, the provider would cut our lights. Good way to mooch another $40 from us, right? But that's not quite what happened. A few weeks later, I received another letter from the electricity company with her name on it. Probably a late payment warning. I sent her a text to tell her, and she responded, LOL, why are you so desperate to talk to me? You know what you have to do, smiley face. Another letter came in for her. This one was probably late fees. I have to guess because I never opened them. I messaged her and she said, I thought I told you to never talk to me again. As you wish, ma'am. More letters arrived, but from a new address. I googled the new sender's address and found that they were debt collectors. Scary stuff. It's too bad I couldn't say a word to her. Now about 2 or 3 months later, I received a phone call from my ex, and I'm greeted by, what the f***, these people are calling my parents' house. I've got all these late fees and debt collectors. I told her if she wants our part of the bill, she knows what to do. Realizing that she had no other choice, she caved and came for the money. My roommate and I didn't give her a cent towards the late fees, and I probably looked so effing smug giving her the money for the last time. Lady said her child needed to go to the hospital. I am an RN. A few years ago, I was working at a walk-in clinic in the middle of downtown in a large Canadian city. Now, as a walk-in clinic nurse, I am used to a lot of entitlement from patients. Those who believe they can jump the line of other people who have been waiting 5+ hours to see the doctor, simply because their symptoms are more important. Those that don't understand that when we say that we have closed registration early in order to be able to close at our official time of 9:30 p.m., it means that they can't be seen even if it is only 8 p.m. when they come in. Those that have become abusive towards me if they don't get their way. A lot of the doctors that worked with me seemed to have a lot when faced with patients' ire. So if I told the patients that they couldn't be seen due to the clinic policy of wanting its employees to actually get sleep before having to come back in the next morning, they would attempt to go around me and appeal to the doctor, who would inevitably cave. This angered me on a lot of levels. Firstly, these doctors were simply rewarding this disgustingly selfish behavior by capitulating. Secondly, they were lending credence to the belief that a lot of the patients had. I was a mere subordinate to the doctor and not my own autonomous practitioner. Thirdly, I was a nurse manager of this clinic. The doctors were on call at the behest of the clinic and as such, did not technically have authority upon our hours as nursing staff and receptionists. Fourthly, we are supposed to act as a united team. So one particularly trying night, a lady came in with her toddler child. She came in at around 8:45, and we still had another 2 hours of people waiting to be seen. We had closed registration at 6 p.m. and were not accepting any new patients. I am in the back of the clinic performing a wound cleaning when the receptionist calls me and asks me to come up front as there is an aggressive patient demanding their child to be seen. So I head out to the front. The lady is standing at the desk, arms folded, snapping at her child to sit still. I glance at the child, who is sitting on a chair swinging their legs and babbling away happily to anyone who will listen. Eyes bright, smiling, laughing. Doesn't look unwell, I think to myself as a cursory assessment. As soon as the lady sees me with my stethoscope, she launches her tirade. "Doctor, my child is extremely unwell. She has asthma and can barely breathe. She needs to be seen immediately." I glance deadpan back at the child, who is singing loudly to herself. I look back to the lady. "She doesn't seem to be in distress, ma'am." The lady tenses up and stares at me as though I am a complete moron. "Well, where the hell did you go to medical school?" she inquires with the auditory level of a banshee. Kids present very differently than adults when they can't breathe. What are you, 12? I walk over to the child and place my hand gently on her back. I count her respirations as she falls quiet under my touch, and I observe her scapulae as they expand and contract, indicating full chest expansion. I listen to the smooth sounds of her inspiration and expiration, audible even without a stethoscope. I observe the moistness of her conjunctiva as she rubs her eyes, and I see the glistening wetness of her tongue as she licks her lips. She's well hydrated. "I'm not a doctor, I am a nurse," I say, as I plug my stethoscope into my ears and begin to listen to the child's lung fields. "Of course you don't know what you're doing," she yells. "I didn't bring my ill child to see some stupid nurse. I demand to see a doctor, now. She needs to go to the hospital, and if she gets worse, I'll have your license." The child's lung sounds are perfect. I lean down and smile at the child. "How are you feeling?" I ask her. She wants my stethoscope. I hand it to her. "I'm bored," she says, understandably. I look to the lady. Registration closed some time ago because, as you can see, we have many patients to see and will end up being here past closing. I am afraid we cannot see your child today. Based on my physical assessment, I cannot triage her up the line, as she does not seem to be in respiratory distress. There are several hospitals close by that I can direct you to if you wish. A slow purple flush begins to crawl over her features. I smile blandly at her as I await the inevitable shitstorm about to erupt. She walks up to me and leans into my face. I stand my ground, staring non-committally back. The rest of the waiting room is staring intently. "Get the f***ing doctor." "The doctor is seeing patients, ma'am. I cannot interrupt him." "My child is going to die because of you, you disgusting, low-educated piece of filth. Get the f***ing doctor." I am about to repeat my previous statement when I suddenly hear a slight cough behind me. It's the doctor. Internally, I sag. Great, he's going to usher them in and I get to look like an idiot in front of everyone again. "What seems to be the problem?" he asks, staring quizzically at the lady. She rushes over to him and clings to his arm. "Oh, thank God, doctor. My child, she has asthma. She has run out of her puffers and is in an attack. This nurse refused to let her see you." The doctor stands there, resolute, and disentangles his arm from her vice grip. He takes a cursory glance at the child, who has begun delightedly singing to her own stomach with my stethoscope. He then walks over to me. Now, this is a doctor whom I have not met before tonight. I prepare for the worst. "Nurse, I assumed you performed triage?" I nod. "Yes," I say. "I do not see any evidence of respiratory distress." "Lung sounds?" "Non-adventitious," I say. Fancy way of saying clear as f***. "Mucous membranes?" Fancy way of asking about hydration status. Pink, moist. Capillary refill. Fancy way of asking about blood flow. Immediate. The doctor turns towards the lady, and this is when I realize that he has been watching this entire exchange from the beginning. I am calling you an ambulance. The lady blinks. What? Why? You said that she needed to go to the hospital. If that is what you think, you know your child better than I do. I'd rather be safe than sorry. The lady looks nonplussed. But the nurse said that she isn't in distress. The doctor smiles humorlessly. What, this nurse right here? The one you were accusing of negligence and lack of knowledge? I trust this nurse's assessments. She has been very perceptive and professional for the long night that I've had the fortune to work with her. However, she, like myself, cannot know the intricacies of your child's history. It would be negligence, indeed, if we were to dismiss your concerns as a parent. Nurse, please call the ambulance. Unable to keep the crap-eating grin off of my face, I walk to the phone. The lady is trying to argue with the doctor, who is walking away. Best of luck to you, ma'am. I am sorry that you have had to wait so long, but it's best that we leave this to the professionals, And a shame it is too, as this is flu season and all of the emergency departments are full to bursting with people waiting to be seen. Prepare for a very long wait. And with that, he returned to the examination rooms. I hung up after exiting the call with EMS. The lady was visibly shaking. A few smiles littered the faces of those watching. EMS should be here shortly. If your child's status worsens, please have my receptionist call me back out. Have a good night, ma'am. Vindication has never felt so sweet. And a commenter asked, I don't even know what she wanted in this situation. Meds? Do people even use asthma meds inappropriately? An OP responded, it's a good question. I don't really know. I've thought a lot about the situation over the years and have several theories. The whole thing smacks of a touch of Munchausen's by proxy. She was a very attention-seeking individual and wanted things very much her way. Very narcissistic at the very least. It could have been guilt. Perhaps she allowed the puffers to fall empty and was remiss in getting them filled, so freaked out in an attempt to right any perceived negligence. Or she's just a class A bitch. A diagnostician I am not. And that's going to be it for today, friends. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So take care, and I'll see you next time.